Hey everybody, rolling the intro. All right, today I've got the Queen of Wands as the obstacle and the Seven of Wands as the opportunity. So let's jump into some analysis here. Um, if you haven't seen the short for this one, I wrote the archetype depicted here possesses a strong internal frame of character. They are creatively and sexually self-directed, focused on satisfying their needs, and they have many. Above all else, the obstacle here is in failing to realize or admit to yourself that a relationship with this person will always be one sided. Not something bad in itself, but detrimental if ignored. So, I think that this is, in some ways, I think there's a good cultural archetype of the, I forget exactly what it's called. It's like the magical pixie girl or something like that, you know? It's this character that often pops up in movies where the protagonist is, he hasn't really been living the magic of life. And so he encounters this, it's usually a woman, and she is just this crazy, rambunctious, unpredictable, creative artist, free spirit, weird musician, has weird fashion, and you know the protagonist falls in love, and she helps him uncover this long suppressed side of his beautiful soul. She teaches him how to free himself. Often in the stories, the ones that I particularly like are the ones where initially his conversion to her way of looking at the world destroys him because he's just not a creative free spirit, and so it ruins him. He gets angry at her. She tries to conform a little bit to his way of seeing things. That also fucks her up. And then they both come to terms with the fact that they are great for each other, but the mistake was trying to imitate each other, that they should have just accepted each other as they were and not try and change to better fit. And yeah, so I think this character kind of represents, it's that kind of archetype. This person is often very liberal, very free with their sexuality, very free and open and liberal with their creativity, with their creative take on the world. So it's often an artist or someone who might not, actively be working, let's say, as an artist, but is a creator, is someone who is active in, they interact with the aesthetics of the world every day. And so again, often this will be someone who's like very expressive in their fashion, very expressive in how they live, what they do. These things are all very meaningful to them, and they have they hold a very firm grip on those aesthetics as being the correct ones. And the ideal, I feel like as I'm describing this, I feel like I'm describing a lot of people who don't actually fit into this archetypal character archetype. There's a lot of people that appear this way, but they are just conformists. Like there are a lot of people who like the nerdy business protagonist in a lot of these movies. They're trying to they're trying to assimilate this kind of lifestyle, but they're not really like that. Usually, there's a lot of people that they they encounter some truly charismatic individual who is really free and open like that, and then they're inspired by them, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to be like that. And they start dressing like them, they start saying the kind of things they say, but really they're just emulating. Those people generally don't last very long in that category. And hopefully by the time they're done figuring out that they're not really a free spirit, they haven't gotten too many tattoos or body modifications. But no, but the real deal, the real archetype, you know, believes in their aesthetic evaluation of the world, not because somebody else has established that that is the correct aesthetic. These individuals are genuinely the creators of their own aesthetic evaluation of the world. This card describes the kind of person who then spawns an army of imitators, right? But yeah, these people are these people are great. They're great entertainers. They're great at inspiring people. They're great to, hang out with and have a really exciting time with. But they are very demanding of the people that they are in relationships with, and that's even like even friendships, or even if you have a so you have an artist collective and one of these individuals joins, they'll be very difficult to work with. They will fight for their way of seeing things tooth and nail, no matter what. Um, Again, this could be a really good thing. This is a great creative leader, right? If there is no vision currently in a company, in an establishment, in a relationship, this is a visionary, right? This is a person with a very unique vision. Also, in a sexual relationship, I mean, it's a queen, so it's easy to think of this archetype as being a woman, but this could be a man or a woman. Doesn't matter. Um, but sexually, this archetype they have they have their standard for intimate relations figured out, and and that's the way it's going to be. So for some people, this could be really annoying or intimidating because sexuality, intimacy, like this, it takes two to tango, right? And but every time, let's say you hook up with this person, they're going to be like, this is the way we're doing things, this is what you do now. Like, so for some people, that will be, that authority will be imposing. For some people, it's great. Some people, there are a lot of people that are just really passive, that are just, they're just looking for opportunities to be of service. And I think all of us, to a degree, are highly assertive in some cases where we want to do our thing, and we're also highly agreeable where, it's pretty rare for a person. It's pretty rare for a person not to have some relationship in their life where they are a helper, a giver, a provider. It's pretty rare for a person not to have any of those relationships and be well adjusted. Most people need to feel like they are of use at least somewhere in society to someone, even if it's just caring for a pet. But there are very few people who can actually just be fully self-directed. But this archetype kind of kind of, I think, depicts that kind of person. A person who is all for themselves. And again, I don't think that's a good or bad thing. I think that the world needs visionaries. But at the same time, I think that often people make a mistake when following visionaries or interacting with leaders and thinking that there could be some common ground. This is the kind of person who's capable of creating great new things, but will never treat you with the kind of respect that they grant themselves. So, and really, I just think the biggest obstacle here is in kind of being naive to that reality. When you're with a person like this, it's like you need to recognize that that's always going to be the nature of the relationship. Sometimes people get into a relationship with someone like this and they think, oh yeah, he's such a badass, independent, you know, mysterious, dark, kind of, spooky person. They got their own thing, but they'll change. They'll fall in love with me. Then they'll start the give and take will start, and it's like, no, that's you're deluding yourself. You're just gonna waste a bunch of time on this person if they're really that kind of archetype. If they're that kind of faker that's just putting on this act, oh yeah, you're probably right. They're just doing that to conform and accommodate the group, no problem. But this archetype, I think the obstacle is not recognizing how kind of solitary and independent this person will be in terms of their outlook on sexuality. I would say sexuality and artistic aesthetics, right? So they might not be financially independent. They might not be, as far as the words and ideas they use to describe their aesthetic or their art or the things they create, that might be not original. but the actual energy they have and the actual creative acts that they engage in will be unique, if that makes sense. Like making art, painting a painting and then writing an artist statement about it are two very different things. There are plenty of people that, like, suit of swords people that paint a canvas white, you know, let's say for the sake of the argument, I will say that is not a creative act. And then they will engage in a very compelling, couple of paragraphs describing why this is a revolutionary and creative act and whatever. This archetype here, Queen of Wands, is kind of like the opposite. This individual might not be that great at quantifying and expressing the things they create, but nonetheless they have a very strongly felt intuitive creative energy or output. And then the seven of Wands. This is the last card. This is the last card that pertains to people, to situations involving human beings doing things. And it's an active card. It's a card of imbalance, changes, right? As one of the three cards in the kind of higher order of human affairs, I believe this is related to politics, political ideas, agendas that govern, large groups of people, the more abstract interactions between human beings. And so I see this as representing an environment that's like a political arena. For the short, I wrote, there's a great competition happening in some corner of the political world, and the terms of victory and defeat are defined by the quick-moving, witty, and impulsive creators. The opportunity, the contest, whatever, is open to everyone, but you may have something particularly well-suited to the current competition, the current contest. So I think that this card represents, out of the whole political spectrum, there are people constantly fighting, they're constantly arguing, debating. In some parts of in some areas of politics, it's like this research study is essentially making one case for social policy. This other research study is making the opposite. It's a competition between data analysis, right? That kind of struggle, let's say Seven of Swords, right? In some cases, it's an economic struggle. It's just a matter of which political party has the most resources. It's people lavishly spending money to win political favor. Oh, who's showing up in the nicest car? It doesn't really take a lot of, scientific knowledge. The creativity's not necessarily there, It's just something like that. In other cases, the cultural, the relationships, who's friends with the most people, that kind of things. With Wands, I think we're looking at for the most part, it's the quick-witted, instinctive kind of competition that revolves around creativity. The first thing that kind of comes to mind when I think about it, even though I'm sure it's not necessarily the most accurate, is like the meme war, the meme jihad. Like there are people that really excel at, they see something in the news, they see some, the news is reporting on some issue, and they instantly identify some hilarious way to clip that, Photoshop it into, some Lion King reference or whatever, SpongeBob probably, right? But they're just like really quick-witted in making these fast, creative transformations, and this card refers to that environment, the kind of political battle arena where things are fought on those terms, on the creative, subtle, nuanced, and also very rapid fire. And my take on this is this card is symbolizing that there is an opportunity in that area right now, So it's like that's to shift our attention, to ask ourselves, what arena is this symbolizing? Where is this happening in my life that is relevant to my life, right? And then take a long hard look, and then ask ourselves, okay, what are the opportunities here for me? That and it's like whatever, everyone. I believe everyone is creative in some way, and by creative in this sense, I specifically mean the kind of autopilot, intuitive, flow state kind of creativity. Everybody has something that they can engage in where they find themselves just, being quick-witted. Like for some people, it's like there's one topic in particular that when you talk about that one topic, you're just like the funniest fucking person in the room. And you don't even know what it is about that topic. You just have some innate understanding, about that. You talk about other things, you're not particularly funny. With this one thing, the comedy just pours out of you, right? Consistently. Or there's one type of medium of art that you don't know why, but if you pick up a knife and a piece of wood, just amazing things happen. You can't work with any other thing, whatever. And so the opportunity presented here would be like, what's that thing that for you comes really naturally, and then where can that be applied in this sort of world of political competition, of people asserting themselves in positions of, I don't know, value, establishing themselves in the sort of socio-political hierarchy. Sometimes this could just mean like maybe you've got that skill or talent that people have been telling you your whole life, hey man, you should really enter that competition for that thing or something, and you've been like, nah. It could symbolize something along those lines. But yeah, nonetheless, ask yourself what it is. What is that one thing that you particularly thrive at on that instinctive, impulsive, automatic kind of level? What kind of thing you can create, and then look for, ask yourself where the great competition is happening that utilizes that. That's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Drop me a like if you enjoyed the video, and comment #free reading for your chance to win a free reading, a free one-on-one tarot reading. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.